I am taking over for a day in the MLB commissioner's office. Um, before I say what I'm going to change, do I believe that MLB should do these things that I'm about to propose? Not necessarily. I still believe that baseball is built on the in-person experience. There's nothing like going to the ballpark, getting a beer and a hot dog, sitting down to watch a baseball game in the middle of summer. That's like
American tradition.
most
Yeah.
American you can get. That experience should always be at the forefront of what baseball is built on and what brings new fans to the sport. And the grind of the 162 is what makes it endearing, and that the team that takes home the trophy was able to survive a grueling season and win the war of attrition. However, if Major League Baseball wanted to try something to increase the TV viewership to better not achieve the NFL, but at least close the gap between it and the NFL, just put me in the chair. Let's shake things up and make some big changes. So let's start with the regular season. I'll do most of my damage here. So the schedule right now, one of 162 does not matter. I miss plenty of my St. Louis Cardinals games. It's no big deal. I'll catch the next one. I'll catch the next series. I'll catch a game next month. One of 162 does not matter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shave off a third of the games on the schedule. We're going to basically take 2 months off of the schedule. We're going to go down to 108 games.
How long has it been 162? I honestly
It's
don't
been a
remember.
while. If you look back, I mean, even in like the 1930s, 1920s, like I'm pretty sure they were at least right around that number. I don't know if it was always consistent, but it's been 162
Yeah.
for a long, long
Yeah.
time. So baseball,
World Wars, and Great Depressions happened back then. So yeah, I don't blame them for
right,
maybe not.
right. Baseball purists are gonna just hate me for this, but they'll get over it. So we're going to shave it down to 108. So the question would then be, okay, if you're going to shorten the season, what about season and career stats? How are players supposed to be able to chase those 60 home run seasons and whatnot? So the average plate appearance
Allow steroids.
for allow steroids, I love that. The average plate appearance per game for an individual player is right around four plate appearances. So on a per 162 game basis, if they were to play all the games, that's an average of about 648 plate appearances. That's just an average. So how do we close that number with a 108 game schedule? Just like we shaved off a third of the games of the schedule, we're going to shave off a third of the lineup card. So we're going to go from a 9-man batting order to a 6-man batting order. So what this is going to help on multiple fronts. Baseball struggles with the fact that star players are only seen and are really only able to make a big impact on games for about 15 minutes, 20 minutes. That's about the amount of time that you see a Shohei Ohtani get to make an impact on the game if he's not pitching for in a 3+ hour game. It's about 15, 20 minutes. This will give players an average of 6 plate appearances per game, more time seeing the stars, and more opportunities for them to make an impact. We always talk about in football, if Patrick Mahomes gets an opportunity to drive the ball down the field at the end of the game, he's going to do it, and he's going to be able to make an impact on the game. Obviously, a basketball player has so many opportunities at the end of games to make impact. This will give guys like Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, all the big stars of the game, more opportunities within the game, more opportunities to really make it important to have star players on your roster. So put this in. What is 6 plate appearances per game on a per 108 game basis? What is that going to do? 6 times 108.
That would be 648. Right?
648 plate appearances. That gets us right there at the same average of a 162 game schedule with 4 plate appearances per game. And you may ask, what about the 3 position players that won't get that lineup spot anymore? Those 3 guys that were taken off the lineup card. Well, now that makes it a lot more interesting for teams to strategize with their roster spots, even more by getting players who are defensive specialists. We get those Ozzie Smiths back into the game. We get those absolute cannons in the outfield, those vacuums in the infield. Obviously, they won't be needed in the lineup, but they can always continue to improve their bat and make their way into the lineup. And being one of those 6 guys becomes like that much more special for baseball players. And since we're taking off 54 games of a schedule, which is 27 home games for these owners that are shaking in their boots hearing me talk about this, like any of them are listening. But that's a lot of money being lost. Those 27 home games, those 2 months worth of home games that they're losing financially. These 3 players, these guys that you don't have to pay because they're not going to be in your lineup, you're just paying them for their defense. So shortens the salary of the team. This would also affect pitching staffs as well. So with 108 games being played over 6 months, I'm still going to keep that time frame of the late March to end of September. So games are going to be spread out over that time. So we're not going to be playing every single day anymore. But it also means that you don't even have to have a 5 or 6 man starting rotation. Those top guys, those Garrett Coles, those Paul Skeens, are going to be able to pitch more frequently because we aren't playing every single day. They're going to get those off days in between because we're just going to have more off days. And so you could realistically have a 3-man rotation with this new format. For owners, makes it a lot better for them as well because obviously, like I said, less batters in the lineup and less starting pitchers to have to pay. Now you're paying actually just more bullpen arms, which are a lot cheaper than starting pitchers. So salary expenses would become less, which would start to even that thing out. And on the topic of salaries, can we finally institute a salary cap? It's ridiculous. No more of these 15 years, $765 million contracts where Juan Soto is going to be damn near 40 when the Mets stop paying him. They're ridiculous. Players get paid 10-year contracts when they're 30 years old. Pretty sure that the Los Angeles Angels did that with Albert Pujols, and look how that turned out. Paying way too much money for guys that make a minimal impact, right? Because they're getting 4 at-bats a game. With this new setup, they're getting more. But let's make it a salary cap so that will help owners with the expenses. Because, again, like they're losing those 27 home games. We need to offset the money here. So, yeah, this would help the loss of revenue from the 27 home games and start to create a level playing field among the 30 teams in the league. We've seen what the NBA has been able to do with their league-wide parity. We've had 7 champions in 7 years, 7 different champions in 7 years. We could start to see that as well in MLB and not have these behemoths like the Los Angeles Dodgers and New York Yankees and New York Mets eating up all the star players in this league. Let's bring on more event games and keep them consistent and make them almost traditional for every season. We know society's very distracted these days, and the NFL does a great job of making each week feel really big. People are drawn to things that feel big. And with the NFL, it's the scarcity of games every week, just feeling like an event, everyone meeting up, grilling out, watching NFL Sunday Ticket or NFL Red Zone. It's great. So the games like the Tokyo games, the London, the Mexico City, and any other country hosting these series is great for the league. It's a really cool way to spread the popularity of the sport. That needs to continue and be very consistent. We've only had the Tokyo series this year. I think last year we had a couple of different countries host games. It just hasn't been that consistent year over year. And we need to have the Field of Dreams game happen every single year. It's just a beautiful atmosphere out there. Love the movie, and having that be a staple of the regular season would be really cool. Make it big, make it an event. You got to have that in the MLB season. All right, finally the playoffs. And I would actually say keep the format of the six-man batting rotation into the 6-man batting lineup into the playoffs. Keep that. It would make the playoff games even more interesting. But baseball keeps creeping towards a 16-team playoff that the NBA currently has. And I hate that so many teams make it into the NBA playoffs. There's no reason more than half the league should make the playoffs. Baseball has currently a 12-team bracket, which has 3 wild card teams, and the worst division winner playing in a 3-game series in the wild card round against the worst wild card team, so the 3rd place wild card spot. I don't like the idea of a division winner having their season come down to a 3-game set, especially in this sport, which has a lot of variance. And the more games you have in a series, the better, and the more likely you are to have the best team come out on top. So a 3-game set after winning your division is just kind of puts the whole season on ice in a 3-game set, and I don't like that. So we're dropping this to a 10-team total in the playoffs. I like kind of just the hard stop at a third of the league making the playoffs. It just makes the most sense, and it would allow for all 6 division winners to play their first series in the divisional round. in that 5-game series. So that just like makes it to where all those wild card teams play in that first round, and they funnel into the rest of the playoffs. Like I said, I don't want, if you're the Chicago Cubs and you win the division, but you're the worst out of the 3, and you have to play, I don't know, the St. Louis Cardinals if they're the worst wild card spot in a 3-game set. That is very dangerous, and it's just not conducive for a good playoff. So those are my big changes. My the big thing being going down to 108 games makes it much more. Teams need to be on high alert to get them wins. So what do you think?
Yeah, that first proposal was absolutely radical. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, there would be a lot of angry old men if that happened. I mean, yeah, I understand why you said, would you do these things? Because this would be so drastic. What you just would be so drastic for the look. Like what I said, not like any of it was. I mean, I obviously shortened the season, but it was shortened 15 years ago. And I'm just bringing back the importance of divisions. What you're saying would change like how the league goes. I'm not 100% against it. I'm not going to say I'm 100% for it. I'm not. I understand your logic, and I just I get what you're saying about you have to do this, I guess, but that 9-man rotation, that 9-man batting lineup, it's I don't know, changing
it's
it to
been
6.
a staple of the game for over 100 years, right?
Changing it to 6. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it just comes down to you want to see the stars, but sometimes when your worst hitter comes through in the clutch out of nowhere, right, that can be fun to watch too.